Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of the Hunt, Lift, Eat podcast. I am going to be your host today, Daniel Wrights, and I got two pretty cool guys with me here. Had the opportunity to meet Ryan at ATA, I believe it was, or maybe SHOT Show. I can't remember. You have to remind me. But they're from Vantage Point Archery, so we actually have been doing some product testing on some of their heads, and I'm absolutely blown away from what I've got to see with these, and I can't wait to pick their brains a little bit and hear some more about Vantage Point and everything they got rolling. So how are you guys doing tonight?
Great.
I'm doing really good. I'm Ryan on that side of it. We met at SHOT Show. We were just down from kind of in the same row of booths, and it was just a great connection time. Be on to talk with you guys and see what you're shooting and what you guys are all about. It's a great, I'm excited to work with you guys.
Nice. Yeah, I spent time in a firearms booth, so I didn't get to meet you guys at SHOT Show.
There you go. Yeah, we got our majority of our guys, I'd say, are 50-50 on the whole firearms and archery thing, and I'm a little biased. I like the old struggle stick and arrows, so the gun stuff doesn't resonate in my head too well. I struggle too much with it, so I just stick to the basics to what I know. So yeah, that show season got kind of crazy this year for us. I'm sure it did for you guys too. On your socials and everything, you guys were all over the place too. So they all kind of blend together after the first couple shows. So but no, SHOT Show was great. It was awesome meeting you guys. So why don't you guys tell us a little bit about what you each do for Vantage Point and kind of what the company is and what you guys got going on.
Brian, you got started?
My name, I'll go first, Brian. I'm on the archery side, but I kind of get into the armory side a little bit. I work with the sales team, so I work with Brian quite a bit. I'm inside sales, and Brian is more outside sales. He can tell you more what he does. We both, maybe I won't. I'll tell you what we both work on product development. We both listen to the guys on social media feeling like questions. If you call the shop, you're probably going to talk to me. From helping guys do arrow builds down to hey, what's my grain weight on my broadhead? Simple questions like that. All the way up to hey, should I be running a 425 grain setup or a 784? So there's a big range there that we kind of work with, and it's a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah, I do work with Ryan quite a bit. He takes care of the inside stuff. I do the outside customer visits and that type of thing. And that's with the Archery Armory and with Absolute Machining, our parent company, our own machine shop where we make everything right there on site. So yeah, he pretty much covered it there. The product development side and kind of taking new ideas and innovating and throwing it out at our meeting, weekly. And kind of brainstorming and seeing if it's something we can do or sell it's a lot of fun and a good team to do it with.
No, that's awesome. Aside from the broadhead production stuff, I mean, what kind of on the armory side of things are you guys pushing out product wise? I know it's a big list, but what are kind of your key hitters?
Yeah, right now we released our first product, the first of this year. It's a rail mounted compensator or light mounted compensator. So it's pretty cool. It gets around a lot of barrel restrictions and your not so free states. So places like Connecticut, California, New York State, Canada, we are a SHOT Show. These people love the concept. Something like that takes a little bit of time to get traction with. People are skeptical because it's different. If it doesn't thread on the end of a barrel, it can't function. It's impossible. And that's not the truth. It actually does function well. And a lot of really qualified testers have helped us prove that. And so we're getting some good traction there in some military and law enforcement realms, hopefully. And we want that to take off and then let the civilian market kind of fill in behind that.
Oh, that's super cool. And then on the archery side of the house, Brian, I mean, the stuff you guys sent me, I've got a pile of it sitting here next to me. I mean, it's crazy the options you guys have just from the different grain weights, different broadhead type. I mean, totally different types of fixed heads and everything. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
So I think right now, our offering on broadheads, and I even include thumpers in that game, like the small game thumpers, I think we're up to around that 75 SKUs. I'm thinking hopefully by the end of the year, we're going to hit 100. So, and then Brian's like shaking his head, yeah, we probably might get there.
Yeah.
And that's because we got a lot of cool stuff that we're working on in the shop. And, like I'll say it, like we want to, with that Omega series that I sent you guys, that new single bevel that we designed, we want to do that with bleeders this year. Like we want to get it out with a functioning bleeder that's different than everybody else's, that you can still take out the bleeders and be able to sharpen it whenever you want. That are solid, that's American made, that we can stand behind 100%, that guys are going to look at it and be like, holy smokes, like these guys are like, we always want to be pushing that envelope on something different, something better, something easier that's going to last forever, that somebody can always call me and say, hey, this broke on a pass through. By the way, the animal only went 60 yards and I hit a rock on the pass through. Can I get a new head? And I can say, sure, I'll send you one. That's what we're all about. Making stuff that we can stand behind, made in America, providing for, what is it, Brian? I think we're up to 32 people now in the shop. Like we want American made jobs back in America.
That's awesome. And we skipped one little thing. Where are you guys at exactly?
We're out of Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Okay. Everything's right there in Fort Wayne, manufacturing, everything, huh? Nice.
Everything.
That's awesome. No, man, we love that. We definitely need more and more of that in any industry back being made on American soil. That's super cool, putting jobs in our own people, right? It's funny you say that about the bleeder situation, because like as I was looking at these Omegas and stuff at SHOT Show and then playing with them here and doing some testing with them here, I thought that too. I was like, man, these would be perfect. just a little bleeder on there. They'd be awesome. But the durability, I got to tell you, I've been blown away. So, we've done some testing with them, with all the ones you sent me, and I've really focused on that Omega just because it interests me, the design behind it and the sharpening behind it. And you guys can kind of go into that here in a second. But dude, I have a hard time getting this thing to lose an edge. I mean, it's insane. Other fixed broadheads that I've shot before, even shooting them, I shoot into Morel foam dice targets is what I have for my broadheads. Even those things, like they dole out broadheads. You get like maybe 10 shots in it and you can tell instantly that there's a significant difference, to the point where some broadheads I was hunting with, I had a specific practice one, and that's the only one that I ever shot into foam. I've probably got close to 100 shots through this one broadhead of the Omegas, and I would take it out today. Like I'd put it in my quiver today and it's still holding an edge just fine.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's not a surprise. S7 tool steel is what the Omega is made out of. And I can show you a head. The one I've got right here, this is a 200 grain Omega. This one passed through my buck this year. And you can see the edge retention.
Yep.
I would hunt with that. I won't. I will touch it up before I put it back in the quiver, but I would absolutely hunt with that. And you mentioned the lay flat technology. If you notice, the ferrule and the blade angle match. So one of the challenges with single bevel heads has been sharpening. You have to have a fixture. Not everybody wants to buy one, wants to think around with it. You can take this, and I just have a short piece of shaft here that I use, and you lay it just as it says, lay it flat on that ferrule and that blade, and you can sharpen it without the fixture. So it's a beautiful thing, awesome design. That edge retention, I can even show you a 3-blade. This is a 200 grain 3-blade that one of my sons shot his buck with this year, and you can see the edge retention on that. I haven't done anything to that except clean it up. There's no chatter. The tip isn't curled. That will still shave. I just tested a little bit ago before he went on, and it still shaves, and that's a 3-blade. So, the head's only going to get more dull as it passes through. It can't get sharper. So let's make it as sharp as possible and as robust as possible. And that's great material from the beginning, good machining processes, and a great design, and it's going to hold up.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I was just looking at, I've got this one here. This is one of the 125s that I've been shooting, and like it's awesome. I mean, there's a little coloration on it from the target, but other than that, she's good. Like you said, we'll do a quick touch up on it, and we're gonna be killing hogs next week. This time next week, actually. So nice. I'm super excited.
What's that arrow build weight on that, Daniel?
So this one right here, this is a gold tip, Black Label Quantum, 250 spine. I think these are coming in right at like 460-ish, somewhere in there. I can tell you actually,
Oh, he's even got
456.
he's even got the scales. He's like on it.
Oh, so I switched sights, and these HHA sights, I've got it. You can kind of see
Yeah.
I've got it written inside of whatever sight tape I'm working
Yeah.
with. So
Good
Nice.
idea.
yeah, man,
Yeah.
I'm a numbers guy. I'm a tech guy. So like I got to know, or else I can't sleep at night.
And that's a common arrow weight right now. 450, 470
Yeah.
range is common. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, some people go crazy with the heavy stuff. Some people go crazy light and fast. Figure out what works for you. What I would always suggest though, is if you don't know what to do, start out with a one piece solid head with no moving parts, no replaceable anything, and start there. Remove those variables and worry about weight and tinkering later. Just start with that head. That's the most important part on that arrow after it leaves the bow anyway.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I've seen it. I've seen mechanicals fail a handful of times. I've seen mechanicals do great things, but man, anything mechanical has a failure point at some point in its life. And you never know. It could just be a bad batch. It could be the first shot out of the box. With these, though, I'm telling you, man, there's nothing that's going to go wrong.
There's no failure point.
No, not at all. And I've got some of the let's see, I think these are the 200s, or those are 125s. Yeah, 150s, 200s, some of the bigger ones too, and the 3 blades. And like I can assure you, I can't wait to upload and share some of the content that we did with some of the testing and some beef shoulders.
Nice.
They work. I'll say that for now. They freaking work, man. They're sweet.
Nice.
We love to hear that. That's great.
Yeah.
Like, and especially like, it's not just our word, right? Like Brian and I will shoot through, like when we start doing the R&D for the ones with the bleeders, like we'll shoot through hog shoulders. We'll shoot through plywood. We'll shoot through cow femurs. Like we just go to the butcher shop and just get a bunch of stuff and start shooting through things just to make sure, and make sure like we know that there's going to come to a point that, depending upon the OSB or the cinder block or whatever we're shooting into, we want it to fail, right? We want to build stuff that way we know its breaking point, and then we can say, okay, who was the last person that shot through an armor piercing, whatever? You know what I mean? Like stupid stuff like that. Like they just don't do it. So it's a lot of fun, and that's kind of the fun around the shop. Or who's the last person to shoot the building, Brian? Like that was me. Like that just happens. Like you never know what's going to happen in the shop.
I don't know. It sounds like a pretty good day at work. I've had much worse days at work than that.
Yeah, it's a blast at work.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. What would you guys recommend? I mean, if someone were to come to you as far as like a new archer, new hunter, whatever, and I think you kind of touched on it a little bit, you know, but besides just a fixed broadhead, what's your guys' recommendation?
Ryan, you go first.
I knew you were going to say that. My first question is I want to know like your poundage and your draw length. That's kind of my first where I'll go. And then I'll ask him like, hey, what spine are you shooting? That kind of gives me like a range where he wants to be, right? Just by knowing those 3 things, I can kind of say, okay. And then I might even like say, what are you hunting for? If he says like, well, I'm a first time hunter and I want to go to Africa and shoot over a watering hole, I might stop for a little bit and think about how I want to do this. I might lean on the PC, like, hey, what's your PC? Kind of asking you to have, what are you looking for there? But if he's doing whitetail, I'm like, okay, so your whitetail Midwest, his max yard is probably going to be 40. That's what it is around here for us, and we kind of know that. If he's moving further out west, he might shoot 60 and 80, right? That's just where some of those guys are out there, and no fault to them if they're dropping them and they're having a good time. They're out tracking them and killing them. That's great, but I'm going to start by that, and then I'm going to kind of see what his FPS is, what he's pulling back, what he's shooting at, and then I want to know, like, okay, then I can say, okay, he's probably in that 150 to 175 up front. He might even go down to 100 or 100 and a 125, depending upon what he wants to shoot. I'm not selling them the broadhead, right? Let me back up. I'm selling a broadhead. I'm not selling the setup. I know my broadhead's not going to fail. That's the one thing. I just want to make sure that they're getting the head that's going to work best for what they want. Some guys will say, well, I don't want to track a deer. I'm like, okay, like I can't choose your shot placement. So do you want to go with more damage, or do you want to go with a 3-blade? That way you know you're getting 3 cutting surfaces. If they're a tried and true guy, they're probably going to want a 3-blade. If they want the new thing on the market, they're going to probably want an Omega. And then I'll kind of figure out what grain weight they're looking for in that range. Brian, you're up. That's me.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And I would agree with that too, with your arrow weight, what you're hunting. Let's just assume somebody's going to hunt Midwestern whitetail, since we're kind of in the Midwest here. When people make a switch to fixed blades, typically a lot of times it's guys like myself who started with fixed blades, and I got on the light and fast train for about 5 years, had 2 failures, went back to the fixed. And people like that are going to tend to go toward a 3-blade. That's what they know. It's what they used to use, and it's familiar. And I would say, first of all, to make sure your bow is tuned, got to make sure that's done. So assuming that is there, the little 100 grain 3-blade that we sell, it's almost, if your bow is even decently in tune, it's hard to make those fly bad. There's not a ton of surface area. They're a small head. That's the first head I ever shot at VPA. And I shot those for over 3 years before I started working for VPA as a field staffer. So I believed in a product before I ever started working here. And that's the first head I shot. And I went back to 60 yards and just blown away at how nicely that little head shot. Started experimenting 175, 200, etc. I love the 3-blade. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever. Like I showed you, my son still uses it, loves it. But the Omega and a single bevel, to me, because of what they do, actually the devastating wound channel inside the body, how they rotate, they make angular cuts. So your blood vessels and your organs and tissue are not just going to have straight cuts from a traditional 2-blade. They're going to have angled cuts as it spirals through. And I've just had really good success, me and my sons and son-in-law, with the single bevel and the Omega. So I would say, if somebody's not opposed to a 2-blade, if it didn't scare them, some people, like I said, traditionalists, it's all about the 3-blade. It's what they always use. A 2-blade is not a bad thing, especially a single bevel, or the Omega. I mean, I love the Omega head. Love that thing. And it's been proven really effective on even large game.
Yeah, that's awesome. Especially because you guys have some different grain options for those, right? Like walk me through those. What's their minimum and maximum?
Omegas are down from 125, and I'll have up to 300 grains here in about 2 weeks. So 125, 150, 175, 200, 250, and 300. So
that's nuts. I mean, so if you're looking for that lighter, go with that 125 for whatever. If that's what you want to shoot your deer, your elk with, whatever. But then, the guy that is going to Africa to hunt a water buffalo, like you can put a heck of a head on there and do some damage for sure.
Yeah.
Have you guys done anything like that personally? Have you guys been over to Africa or done any big game like that? No, man, I want to.
Yeah,
I want to real bad, but
yeah, it'd be fun shooting something the size of a car. That'd be fun. See how Broadhead performs.
There you go. From the sounds of it, you guys have shot your Broadhead through pretty much everything, including the building. So maybe a car's next.
Perfect.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's not funny, but maybe it is a little bit funny.
I'm just saying. I mean, a pass through on 2 doors might be pretty sweet, or at least a door would be pretty sweet.
It would be. Yeah, I saw Rogan shoot Elon Musk with the field point. Shot his one of his Teslas there, what is it?
Cybertruck,
the Cybertruck. But try one of our Omegas. Maybe we can get with him and see if that would penetrate. There's a promotional opportunity for us.
I was going to say, if anybody's got that connection, let's make it happen.
Yeah, let us know. We'd like to see how it performs.
No, that's super cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. What do you guys got planned this year for hunts? Speaking of, as far as archery hunts, anyways.
I'll go first. For me, I am looking forward to sticking around home. Like,
okay.
If there comes if something opens up out west, and one of the other guys we work with, he's got some land in Utah, and we keep talking about going out there and doing an elk hunt. If that opens up, I might jump on it. He's got some tags, so we'll see how that works. But really, that hunting season for us around here is right before the big push of the first of the year. So the more I can stay home, those 3-4 months leading up to that, the better off I am, because next week we start leaving for TAC. So it's just kind of like we're just hitting that circuit again. And it's good, and we like doing that. We like talking with guys and getting out there and showing our product and connecting with guys is what we really like. Brian and I both like kind of trick out in that connection side with guys. But yeah, that's kind of my hunting. I want to stick close to home.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, same here. Could have an opportunity. Ryan and I, if he wanted to, we've got a connection in Tennessee who's been asking us to come down and do different hunts, and had an opportunity to turkey hunt this spring. I'm not a turkey hunter. I've just never done it. A couple reasons for that. Not that I wouldn't enjoy it. I think I might enjoy it too much and become addicted to it. And I don't need that right now. I don't need something else to do. But I'm a bow hunter, whitetail guy through and through. If I got an opportunity to go to Tennessee and hunt their rut being about a week later than ours, as long as I tagged out in Indiana, I'd be okay with that. But from mid-October, third week in November, I don't go anywhere. It's right here, and I'm kind of a stranger in my own home during that time. I'm out a lot.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's awesome. The whitetail thing is not my language. I went on my first whitetail hunt this last year in Virginia. So that was a big change versus, I'm in Colorado, so I'm out west. August is mid-August when antelope season kicks off, and I can hunt with bow all through. I mean, I can hunt with a bow through rifle season if I really want to out here, but
yeah.
That whitetail game, man, that's something else. I got addicted to it just on this first trip that I took. The mind games and the planning and the preparation and everything, like going into it versus just, there's a little bit of that we do out west, but not nearly as much as what a lot of whitetail guys do.
Yeah. Yeah, there can be.
And you're so right. It is a mind game. Like, it is such a mind game. When you said that, like, it just made me think, like, man, it is a mind game. Like, it messes with me a little bit.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, talking to a couple of my buddies that typically hunt whitetail, it's a year-long thing for some of those guys, especially if they're doing food plots or whatever the case may be. It's nuts. That's one of those things, like, I don't need another thing to do. That's one of the reasons why I also don't turkey hunt, just because I know I'm going to love it. And then before you know it, I'll come home and the wife will be extra mad at me that I dedicated another month to hunting.
Yeah.
No, that's super cool. So kind of circling back here to Vantage Point, what you guys are all about. Give me some history here on the company and where you guys, when you guys got your start.
I'll go first, Brian.
Yep. Go ahead.
So I think it was Broadhead. The Broadheads were started being manufactured in 2008. We had an engineer. We have an engineer, still works at the shop. He had an idea to design a broadhead, and he went to the previous owners of the company and said, "Hey, I've got an idea. What do you think?" And they were running them on two small little Haas machines. It was kind of just a side hustle. Fast forward to 2018, Jeff Stringer, I think you met him at SHOT Show, Daniel. He was there with me. He's the other owner in the company, and then it's me as one of the owners too, partners. We had another company local here in Bluffton, and we needed a part machine, and we walked through that shop and we saw these broadheads being made. And since then it's been full tilt. Like how can we bring VPA to what we know it can be across the country? Like, it's a great product. It's made in America. There's no outsourcing. We're providing for families. Just that, like, we're sinking our whole time and effort into a company that we love. I get to work with Brian every day. I get to work with men of integrity and always, like, they know my heart, right? They just know who I am. And I can say, like, I stand up for this and I'm going to back it 100%. That's kind of the story for VPA. And then, like Brian said, a couple years ago, actually, I met Brian like 5 years ago. I think he was on our field staff, right? You came to the shop.
Yeah.
And right after we bought the company, believe it. Like, I think Mitch was still there, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And knew who he was. Last fall, he came to the shop and he said, "I'm kind of looking." And I'm like, "Man, I need a salesman." He's like, "Let me think about it." and then you can tell the story, Brian, if you want.
Yeah, it was, the thing that really attracted me to VPA to begin with, the Broadhead side, was being local. It's like 45 miles from my house, and want to support a local company and then a great product on top of that. It was just a no brainer. When it came down to my testing, there were a couple other options out there, but if all else was equal, which it wasn't, I still had better success with VPAs, the testing I did with impacts and flight. But if all else would have been equal, I would have supported a local company. And that's what VPA is big on as well. And what attracted me to the company is, they want to, any outsource like black oxide coating or anything like that is all done close. So it's Fort Wayne. And then if you have to spread out from there, it's still Indiana. Then if you have to go outside of Indiana, but the focus is really locally and American jobs. Again, all of our material also sourced in USA. So we don't buy cheap material and, say American made. It truly is American made and sourced. My first week at VPA, we had something happen with the batch of broadheads, and they were caught. They were manufactured, I think, wrong bevel or something like that. And they asked one of the other partners, what he wanted to do, and he said, "Scrap them, start over. I don't want to risk getting those out in the field." Which, my third day there, I saw that kind of integrity, and it was just an awesome thing to see. So you can be 100% sure that not just, these heads are not just metal and machining, but, there are people that truly love this behind the scenes and who live it and who hunt, who also utilize this equipment, because a lot of people don't realize there are guys out there. I'm not going to use the word TV hunter, but there are celebrities out there who say they use a certain product and they really don't when it comes down to the hunt. So it's about what they get paid and who writes the checks. And we believe in our product, and all of our ownership does as well. It's just a refreshing thing. It's awesome. Great product and great people.
No, that's awesome. And I totally hear what you're saying there with standing behind what you guys do. Is that's one of the first things, when I was talking to Ryan at SHOT Show about these heads and brought up, like doing some gear testing and stuff like that with your guys' heads. I think he flat out told me, he's like, "That's fine. Shoot them through whatever you want. That's fine. They'll hold up." Like the confidence. I was like a little taken back. I was like, all right, these guys know what they're talking about. And then getting to, know you guys a little bit more and what you're all about. It was super cool to see, hey, we have a quality product. We're willing to put it up to the test to anything and everything.
Yeah.
You guys have already done probably 10 times the amount of torture tests to it as to what any other average consumer would ever do. So really knowing that product and being able to stand behind it is huge. And that's, like you said, that's something that's lacking. Most people in the industry, it's all about dollar signs, baby. It's whatever pays the most is what they're going to do or say they do, and it's tough, man. It's kind of hard to see that in such a small industry where we're already being attacked from every side, from legislation and politics and just social demographics, like everything like that. And then have people in the industry act like that. It's refreshing to see what you guys are doing and someone that truly cares about their product and where it's made, how it's made, and the people that support what they do.
Absolutely. Yep.
So you guys, when it comes to your machining, it's all done in-house, right? You said that. And then is it all just CNC machine? You got a couple machinists in there doing everything, or how's that work on your production side?
Yeah, that broadhead that you have there in your hand starts out at 7,000 grains, which is right at 1 pound of material.
Wow.
So yeah, every broadhead is machined down from one. It's bar stock. It's bar stock is what we use. Then we say we make a bunch of plumb bobs because they look like plumb bobs when you start with them.
Sure.
And then it goes through a process of machines. Right now, I think in the VP area, we're around 5 to 6 guys, depending upon the day and the products that we're running that we have orders for and stuff like that. It depends on the day, but we're running 2 shifts fully, I think, on that. The demand's pretty high. We make a lot for other people too, that we just really enjoy some good other solid piece one guys out there that like broadheads, right? So we kind of help the industry out in that side too.
That's awesome. So are they turned right away from that bar stock, or are you starting with a cut, laser, water jet, anything like that, or how's that work? if you can. I guess that might be too holding too much. I grew up in a family machinist, so I'm
Daniel,
a
I
nerd.
may have to make you sign an NDA the next time we have this conversation.
Yeah, I'm a nerd when it comes to this stuff, but no, it's cool, man.
You come to the shop, we'll give you a private tour without a camera once you sign the NDA. How about that?
You got it, man. Sign me up.
Okay.
We'll do it. You teach me how to
Okay.
whitetail hunt while I'm out there too. And
That's done. You can go with
I can
Brian. He's
geek
got
out.
nice property.
No, that's super cool, guys. So yeah, you kind of talked about the bleeder situations you guys are working on with those Omegas. Any look for changing anything that you guys have in your mind on the three blades or anything like that? I mean, they're pretty solid already. I'm super impressed with them.
I'll answer that. Yeah. I've said it a lot, and I think I've said it to Brian. Like, it's super hard to outdo what man has been done since the beginning of time. When you think about a broadhead and Native Americans, even around here, you can still find them, right? Like,
Sure.
so it's hard to redo something that's already been perfected. We like the ideas of bleeders. We know it's something that, excuse me, the designer on the Omega was Daryl Barnett. He's designed that broadhead. He's got some ideas for the bleeders. I can say that we're going to do the bleeders from 150 grain up to that 350 range. I can't, integrity wise, on the broadhead, we can't get it down to 125 for the single fact that Brian and I will be testing those soon. Like we want those bleeders to be thick. That's the one thing that we've said, hey, we want thick, stout bleeders. The other thing that we're kicking around, it's going to be on a 204 shaft is all I can say. So we're going to redo some stuff. We've got some ideas there that hopefully will be out by hunting season. I'm excited for that one the most. I think it'll kind of be like, holy smokes, these guys are really thinking.
Yeah.
Not on the head, but on a setup, Brian, what else can I say there? You can explain it.
Not much.
Not much. The guy said enough. I can't say no more about that.
That innovation side, though, one of the partners, Jeff Stringer, too, talks about we probably don't have the best business model because the heads are so durable. It's not like you have to buy them all the time. So that puts the onus back on our team to develop new things and say our head's great, but we're also innovating here. We add bleeders. There's some other things in the works, like Ryan had mentioned, and that's the fun part of it is that product development side, and obviously the testing too. But yeah, you have to make a decision. Do you want to invest, or do you want to just, do you want to buy a $1,400 bow, a $300 rest, $300 sights, and a $12 head? To me, it doesn't make any sense. It's a simple decision for me.
No, that makes total sense to break it down like that. Yeah, I mean that's at the end of your journey in bow hunting, right? It comes down to your shot placement, but what that arrow is going to do when it gets to where you're aiming. Hopefully it's in the right spot, but things happen. I mean, we all know bad shots happen. It's not where we ever intend to happen. But if you do get some shoulder blade, like whatever, having a product that's going to be durable to hit hard enough with the right components behind the broadhead too, goes a long way. So I like to hear that. And I like to hear, when I asked you guys earlier about what you would tell a new hunter, and both of you were right on with, well, what's your bow, what's your poundage, what's your draw length, what's your FOC, like where that FOC needs to be, and all the factors of it. I mean, it all plays into the equation for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And speaking of shoulder blade shots, I don't, that it's such a touchy subject. People talk about ethics. And I even heard him question Tim Gillingham killed a deer last year at 104 yards. And it's like, that's unethical. And I'm going, do you realize who you're talking about here? This guy can group, no kidding, from 120 yards at 5 or 6 inches in the wind outside. So ethics are going to be relative to the person, and knowing your setup and the shots you're going to take plays a role. I have a long draw length, shoot 70 pounds, 530 grain arrow. My buck last year was 1/4 and I was right at the knuckle, and it blew completely through, and he went 70 yards and was dead. I don't have a problem with that shot. It's just people look at bone sometimes too as though it's concrete, and it's actually kind of soft and pliable. It's got fluid inside of it, and it's somewhat soft. Now that's not to say that it won't damage certain heads, because it does. It really can wreck them. But if you're confident in your setup, that really matters. And obviously, again, no failure points. I call our heads boringly reliable. They're just boringly reliable.
I can
Nothing
see
flashy,
that.
nothing fancy, but they work over and over again.
Yeah. I can see that. That's very true. Yeah, like you're saying, a lot of when it comes down to the ethics side of things, yeah, it depends on who's shooting it. You know, like say Gillingham, the dude's a freak of nature when it comes to shooting a bow. I mean,
Yeah.
A lot of people say, and I agree with it, you can never master archery. You can never master bow
Right.
hunting. Guys like him, they're
as
not
close as you can
masters,
get.
but they're pretty damn close. Yeah, they're riding the line for sure.
Yep.
For sure. No, that's awesome, guys. What else can you guys? You got anything else you guys want to share with us and our listeners about Vantage Point and things you guys are doing? Or
Ryan?
I was just thinking, yeah, I guess like as far as I always want to talk about like, and I've said it a couple times just about the employees and about the American made stuff, but like know that like when you call, like you're going to talk to me, or if you call, you might talk to Brian or Alex, Alex Christensen. She does a great job with our social media and making sure that like guys are informed on what we're doing.
Yeah.
You can find us all in all the Instas or whatever they are out there, Snapface and all the good stuff. So don't be afraid to find us there. Sorry, I do not follow any of that stuff. Did I say that wrong? Oh, I always say that one wrong, don't I?
It's perfect.
So I'm not on that stuff. But like she does a great job and we really appreciate what she does in the shop for us. The only other thing if we say we're going to do it, by golly, we're going to stand behind and do it.
Yeah.
That's just where we're at.
Yeah. Yeah, we are on all social media outlets, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. We're on all those. So I don't know if we're on Snapchat. Ryan mentioned Snapface. Either way, I don't know if we are or not, but you can check it out and try to find it. But Alex does do a tremendous job. And I'll tell you a little story. This is when I first was doing a search to try to find a fixed blade head on the Google machine. Vantage Point Archery came up way down the list. And I'm like, how are they in Fort Wayne? And I've never heard of them. And I'm 45 miles away. Again, it was kind of a word of mouth, like Ryan mentioned earlier, the previous owner just let it spread and people heard about it. And some people used them and loved the product, but there was no real marketing behind it. So a couple of years ago, they hired Alex. She's done a great job. Now we've gone to shows and people have seen our tags and said, hey, I shoot your broadheads, and they're great. Or call on a customer and cold call even, hey, I'd like to stop in and talk to you guys. Yeah. So-and-so, 2 of our bow techs. I just had this yesterday, a guy in South Bend. 2 of our bow techs here shoot your broadheads. We'd love to talk to you. So the word is getting out, and social media is a great way, obviously, to get that out there. So make sure you look us up. And again, as Ryan mentioned, if you call the shop, you're going to talk to a person, and they're going to help you through whatever questions you have. Lifetime warranty. You shoot your broadhead into a boulder because you missed, your bow's out of tune, that's your problem. But if you blow through an animal, you hit a rock or something in normal use, send it back and we'll replace it. And I don't know if anybody else does that. And I do want to touch on one more thing. We also do have a test pack available on our site. So you can go through, the price will vary depending on the broadheads you pick, but you can pick 3 different heads. So you can pick 125 grain Omega, 200 grain 3-blade, and what else? A single bevel, 150 grain. And you can bring those home and you can test those and try them instead of buying a pack of each and saving some expense there. So I don't know of anybody else that does that, but that's definitely looking out for our customers.
yeah, I'm not familiar with anybody else doing that off the top of my head. So that's super cool. I mean, that would have saved me a ton of time with just looking at a guy's website trying to see what you want to get.
Yeah.
I think that's super beneficial to the consumer.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Are you willing to put that 125 into a hog shoulder next week then, Daniel? Is that what you're thinking?
That's what I'm thinking.
I'd like to see
I'm thinking
that.
So. Yeah,
We'd like to see those pictures.
Yes. Those will be shared.
Yeah, we got a pretty cool opportunity. We have a fitness archery event called Western Hunt Fest coming up this weekend in Raton, New Mexico, and then we're headed straight down from that event into Texas to chase hogs. And the trail cam pics I keep getting from the guy down there are plentiful. So we're gonna have plenty of opportunities, and got a whole stack of broadheads here thanks to you guys, and we're gonna draw blood with every single one of them.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, one other thing I want to give you guys props on is the tunability or lack thereof need for tuning with your guys' heads that I found. It was, I mean, very, very similar to my field point flight. Granted, I shoot a 100 grain field point and just screwing on a 125 and going for it. I mean, I was low, which is to be expected, right? You're heavier weight up front. It's going to be a little bit low, but as far as left and right and the way that my sight works, to set a sight tape for it, you shoot it at 20 yards, get that set, shoot it at 60 yards, and there was no variance as far as left and right. I mean, super tunable. The flight path was awesome. Did some slow-mo stuff with it, watching it fly down range, and it was awesome. I'm super, super impressed. And, yeah, like I said, I can't wait to draw some blood with these things and see what they do.
Yeah. Yeah, that tunability is important. Quality materials, good machining process. People sometimes tend to blame a broadhead right away if it doesn't fly well. And you ask them, well, what's your group look like? And they go, well, I had one high right and one low left and one. That's not your broadhead. That's most likely the operator. So you need to clean up a lot of stuff first. Your torque, your release, your anchor point, your grip. There's a lot of things that need to be cleaned up first. If you're hitting all left, in a decent group, or all higher, you can work with that. And any broadhead might need a little bit of tuning there, and tweaking. But yeah, that's something to remember there as well. It could be insert tolerance stack ups as well as the arrow and then the broadhead. You stack those things up. You might have to do a little insert tuning, but that's part of the process. And to me, it's just rewarding to get the half dozen arrows that are going into your quiver out of maybe a dozen you started with, and like these all fly perfect. And I built these things, from the beginning and cut them to the right length and shot them at distance with field points. And that's the fun part of it to me. I'm a tinkerer, so I love that stuff.
Same. I mean, that's hence the riding on all my sight tape wheels.
Yeah.
I got it's a mess if anybody else were to see it behind me, but there's parts and tools and weights and scales and everything scattered everywhere.
Nice.
But one other thing I want to ask you guys about, I've seen on your social media is your arrow roller.
Yeah, I can talk about that a little bit. So it's something that we wanted to build. Okay. There's a bunch of arrow spinners out there, right? And I don't know if one's better than the other one. I just knew that I wanted an American-made one, to be honest with you. It's made in our shop. Dang it. That's what we wanted. I don't know where the rest of them are coming from. You know what? I bet the majority of them that I see out there are coming from overseas. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But that's just something that somebody asked us, hey, can you do an arrow spinner? And I kind of looked at them on Amazon. I thought, why the heck not? So we had one of our, it actually started last summer. We had one of our interns from Purdue University. His name was Jake, and he kind of took the project and just came. Yeah, we put him online last month, and they work, right? It's an arrow spinner, and it's something that it's cool to make, and the guys in the shop like doing different stuff, right?
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, if you can make it in America, why not?
Yeah, and sold that first batch out quick.
Yeah.
And the price compared to comparable quality spinners, our price point blows them away. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's super quiet. You had it at SHOT Show, didn't you? Did you guys have one?
We did have one.
I might have had one at SHOT Show.
We had a
I'm pretty sure I saw it and we talked about it.
You saw the prototype, yep.
Yeah. And even that, I was impressed with I think the first thing I noticed was oh yeah, mine when it sits on the table, I got to hold it down because it's going to wibble wobble everywhere. And is that the wobble of an arrow or is that just my crappy spinner? But no, that's cool. That's cool. You guys are doing some of that stuff too. And like you said, for the reason of we can make it in America, so why not? And people are going to buy it. I guarantee it. And it's a quality product. So that's cool.
Some of the other things we're doing too is we've been doing some pass-through items. So we're partnering up with other companies who make their stuff in America. And so we're adding things, the target tack which is a great product that I've tested personally and a couple of local shops have as well. And we're selling those. That's a really good veteran company. Gosh, what else, Ryan? I know we're doing the cup holster through Vets Tactical. That one's in the works. We're looking into that one. There's several out there.
Rest. I really like those things for
Rest.
for aero builds, like those stackable, like those are cool. And he's making those all in mass. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's a cool
Laurel
dude.
Mountain Outfitters. He's a dealer of ours out in Pennsylvania. And I saw those on his social media and I said, hey, have you thought about doing any dealerships with anybody? He said, not really. I just expected to sell them direct. And so we worked that out and we became a dealer for it. So we sold a few of those. A couple of his proofs, his initial ones I've got on my toolbox and I've used in my fletched arrows up the last couple of days. And they're just a nice cradle to put your arrows in. I use kind of a rubber egg crate type thing and it just looked bad on top of the toolbox. I don't know. This just looks better. It's cleaner. And you can also use it, the trad guys, to do their cresting as well. So they're custom painting on it. So it's got dual purpose and it looks good.
That's cool. Yeah, I definitely have to check that out.
Yep.
Just partnered up with SKB. I'm doing a broadhead case. That's really cool. Like, I like it. And those will come. I'm hoping I'll have those up in the next week. Like, they'll be pretty fast. And SKB's a great American. They're California, and these are made. They say made in America. That's the one thing I talked to the dude on. Like, hey, I'm not buying your case unless it's made in America. And he's like, these are made in California. I'm like, okay. So we're pretty picky about that stuff in our shop. Like, I want to make sure what I'm putting for guys to buy is made in America.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's funny you say that. I was just trying to order a broadhead case for this trip because of the extra broadheads that were taken down there, and I was like, "This all look crappy. I don't want to buy one of these." It's cool. Glad to hear there's something coming that I can look forward to.
Sealed case, watertight. They're slick, and the price point isn't as bad as what. Like, don't quote me on this. I think the case is going to hold. Like on that 125, it'll hold 6 broadheads and I think the case might be in the 30s somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I was impressed. Like, it's not super high end, but it's a good case.
Nice. No, that's awesome. Especially for if you travel a lot. I mean, like me, I'm on the road nonstop doing stuff and having just an organization system that I can just throw in my tote and know that everything's going to be solid when I get there. Or if I get there and it gets wet and it's water resistant or whatever, sit in the rain and be fine. Last thing I want is my broadheads to be beat up, lost, jumbling around each other, or rusted when I open the case up.
Yep.
Okay, Daniel, we got to hit on that. It's steel. It's gonna rust, right? Like even
Yeah.
Put a little wax on them. Put a little wax on them. Put a little like Carmex or something like that for me once you sharpen them.
There you go. Yeah, you're right. That's cool, guys. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I'm super excited that you guys were able to jump on here and give us some kind of in-depth on what you guys got going on. I'm excited for the content we're going to be able to get and the things we're going to be able to do with these broadheads here in the next couple of days, actually. And like I said, they've blown me away from SHOT Show to here. I'm sold, man. I'm a VPA guy.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah, we do.
That's awesome, guys. Cool. So, you said your guys are on the social medias, just Vantage Point Archery?
Yeah, vparchery.com, vparmory.com as well for that side. Look us up on, like I said, all the social media platforms. We are out there. Subscribe to our YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook. And again, Alex does a great job of keeping up to date there. We do also, if you are anywhere even close, even if you're not close, as a matter of fact, we have a trail shoot coming up that we sponsor with one of our dealers, Bass and Bucks in Wabash, Indiana, and it attracts shooters from 26 states and Canada. Some pretty good shooters as well that actually shoot on the ASA tour and that type of thing. They will be there also, and they shoot in this thing. So, so check that out. That's on our social media as well. And if you're close enough, within 26 states at least in that neighborhood, feel free to come shoot. There's money up for grabs. It is a sanctioned event of NFAA, and you can also shoot just for fun. It's kind of like the Midwestern version of Reading. They use the bigger targets with the orange and green, and so it's a fun shoot for some, and then some people are there to compete. But either way, great people at Bass and Bucks and great course there. So yeah, if you're close, sign up.
Heck yeah, we'll definitely push that out. I know we got a pretty good stretch of Hunt Lift Eat team members out that way, so those guys are always looking for an excuse to go shoot.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's late June, June 23rd and 24th, I believe. So the signups have already started. So you can get registered now.
Awesome. I like it. We'll hopefully be able to see a couple of our team members out there with you guys. That'd be sweet. Cool, guys. Well, hey, I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. I know scheduling is not always the easiest thing to track everybody down at the same time, but I appreciate you guys' cooperation and jumping on here and looking forward to seeing what you guys have coming up next.
Appreciate being on.
Thanks, Daniel. We appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. We'll catch you later.
Thank you.